This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
All right, this is Dr. Bones with Almark for a new type of blog show, and it's strictly music, and that's obviously from the Matrix, pertaining to just the world we live in and just the evolution of music in general, because it's going in so many different directions. So welcome back to the show.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
So what I want to get to, just to start things off with, so we were talking a bit about this the other day via Twitter, is what's starting to, I guess it's been going on for a number of years, but it's almost getting to the point where it's almost overkill, is all these subgenres. I mean, I know that people are trying to define themselves as something different, but it seems being a little ridiculous, because now, I mean, for every type of music, there's like almost like 50 subgenres. Before, you know, it was just a few here and there. Just for an example, you know, with initially, let's say with heavy metal, you know, so there's heavy metal, which is just straight up kind of hardcore fun. Then there's thrash metal, which is a bit more downtrodden and a lot more kind of heavier guitar influence. Then there's death metal, which is just complete grumbling pretty much the entire time. And then there's speed metal, where it's like they're trying to get the song done as quickly as possible, and like the guitarist, like it's like your hand gets tired after like 2 minutes, so they can't go any further just because the song's done. And kind of made it easier there. Then so pretty easy to find, or even such things as alternative. And alternative can go a few ways. It can go the grunge way, which is, you know, more of a deep sounding music, where like had a lot to do with almost guitar tuning, besides it lyrically, just because a lot of songs would be down to, for anybody who plays instruments or knows their notes, down tuned to a D. So it made it a bit easier. So you're essentially just you're playing a chord, but you're playing with one finger, so it makes it a lot easier.
Chug.
Yeah. So from there, it just made it easier, because then it's just a bit more depressing. And then the other form is the alternative. Is it's that sort of thing. It's a rock with like a little bit of a twist of pop. But nowadays, there are like a million and one. There's geek rock, noise pop, math rock.
Yeah, that's right. Data rock.
Well, right, and the list goes on, and it
Indie
just
pop, electro pop, indie rock. Yeah.
So, I mean, I can understand some of the separations. I mean, like, but now, like I said, it's going to be too much. So it's really hard to almost, in some cases, define some of this music. And like, even though we want to say strictly, well, this is it's rock. It's, you know, it's not classic rock because it's not 60s and 70s, and you know, it's just flat out rock. But then they got pop to it with a twist on it. So let's say rock pop. So pretty easy. But all the other things, I don't get where all the definitions are coming from. I think partially they're trying to define themselves by, I guess, some of the lyrics, because some of them are just a bit more geeky, or the noise pop. I think they can get
Weezer.
What's that?
Weezer.
Yeah. Well, perfect example right there. You know, and it's just one of those things where they're just trying. It seems like they're trying almost too hard to kind of really kind of single themselves out to make them like a specific kind of classification. Because noise pop, I mean, it's not really pop, it's not really rock. I mean, it just got maybe some once in a while some somewhat industrial influence in it and that sort of thing. So I guess if you throw something else in and make it different from what we call the original mold of pop, then you can call it noise pop. So I mean, I don't get it. I just much prefer you're either one or the other. You know, you're not or you're the two combined, not all these different subgenres. Because it just, like I said, it's getting me too much and it's starting to drive me nuts. Because when you're looking for all these things, it almost becomes mind numbing. It's like, all right, I've seen this one before. Okay, where are they coming with this one? Why? It just there's too much. There's too much, I guess, questioning behind it. Even though, like, you know, we're supposed to be listening to music for its quality, like, you know, musically and lyrically, and just the roundabout of it all. But now it's just like it's almost making it more difficult to kind of, in a sense, get into some of these things because of the genres. I mean, that's one thing I like to look at because obviously we all have our particular likes, and most time that's not going to change too much, and it just makes it a bit more annoying. It's like, well, what do you like? Well, I like rock, classic rock, new metal, thrash metal. I like geek rock, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
yeah, the list goes on, definitely.
So and that's why most time people say, well, you know what, I like a little bit of everything except for whatever it may be. Because I personally, like I've said this many times before, like pretty much in everything, but the only one I can't do, at least the newer stuff, if you even want to call country, I can't get into it. The original classics, somewhat like Johnny Cash and
right,
and oh my,
true artists,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But now it's more there's almost another subgenre. It's like country pop.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, and even though I don't like it, I seem to know all these genres because I've grown up to hearing all these genres. I used to think I could be a music critic, you know, working for, you know, Rolling Stones or something, but that's never happened to me. I don't think I want that job.
You know, it's too hard because even then, you know, you can be a critic, but obviously part of being a critic is you can't praise everything because, you know, everything is not that good. Even though you want to make it good, it's not. But after a while too, just like a lot of writers, I mean, you get somewhat stagnant. So, you know, you have somewhat of a biased opinion. So you're unless you can kind of keep open minded the entire time, your critiques start to become the same, or, you know, they either become like either really really horrible, or they're just way too good. So there's no real in between.
Yeah. The problem with today is there are too many people diluting music. And I'm always writing about something, whether the music industry is making us listen to utter garbage in the mainstream. And I stress that a lot. I think, you know, I'm just writing, I'm just venting. Who's going to read this? You know, is it going to be like this guy who's on YouTube who makes these silly video blogs and then 100,000 people? No. I may get one or two people liking each one of my posts, but it seems to hit home to some people. Some people think that my post about EDM was kind of harsh, but then they said, well, you write sort of this dark type cinematic music.
Right.
But they, and over this, I ended up making a friend with this person, you know?
Right.
And I found out what they listen to, and yet they say they listen to EDM, they listen to techno. There's a difference between techno and EDM. They're more into this housey, trance type stuff. And I've heard EDM, and the straight EDM that I've heard is very, very cold sounding, very keyboard driven, like with your fingers. They make music with the keyboard, the mouse.
Right.
You know, the groove is what's missing. Original electronic music was so in depth, so passionate. Bands and stuff in the 80s, you know, especially synth pop, you know, when they were experimenting. And then they had Depeche Mode, and they had Tears for Fears. And this was pure electronic music, and that's just part of it. But I think we've really diluted just electronic music in general. Now the other genres, I mean, yeah, they're far gone.
Yeah.
You got new metal and you got metal and you got speed metal and you got black metal and death metal sound quite alike, except the fact you're screeching in one, and then you've got the emo and you got the emo metal and you got the black emo and metal. And it just goes on and on. And you got goth and gothic.
The one.
So
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just. Yeah.
Okay, the one thing I was gonna say about new metal is almost before it became new metal, it was at one point at least I knew it as rap rock, and I'm talking about bands like Korn and like Limp Bizkit and that sort of thing, and then all of a sudden it's new metal. It's like, well, what changed? Did people not like the rap rock? Like,
oh yeah, someone's always switching it up, and it seems like whenever a genre gets stuck into the mainstream, it becomes diluted. I've said this once on one of my posts about when something gets stuck in the mainstream, it's like this big blender that chops it up until it becomes nothing, until it just goes away. And that's why I think mainstream is ruining music today. It didn't used to ruin music so much before the mid 1990s, but by the late 1990s, you had stuff like Blink 182, and you had 311, and that was sort of this reggae-ish type ska type music, and it just kind of progressed from here was punk, and then here's this other type of punk, and it's not really punk. It's more of a post-fabricated punk. I don't know. I would say Nirvana was the last of punk, the very end of punk, in my opinion.
Oh, well, point taken. Just on that note, too, the thing that I think kind of drove me nuts. Actually, I'll get into that 1 second. But we were talking about Blink 182. Obviously, Blink 182 was just like one of those bands. Like I wasn't really a fan of ever. But 311, I actually was into for a long time. And they started evolving, which was cool, and it got kind of cooler and cooler. And then all of a sudden, in my eyes, they just hit this wall. And it's like, and I tried listening to the album a few times, and I couldn't do it. It was like, this is too cheesy. This is like, I don't know what they were thinking here. And so I was a little irritated with that.
Yeah.
But as far as the punk goes, the one thing that drives me nuts is this is the other thing is bands that are classified as a certain genre and they're not, and it pisses me off to no end. I don't know why, but it's just a really big pet peeve.
Yeah, is Green Day punk? No.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was getting to.
Green Day are rich kid punk. It's what I call you're well-to-do, you got a good car, kind of reminds me of that song Popular, I'm popular,
yeah.
That's what that reminds me of. That was a good song, by the way. And Green Day is not punk. People for years said they're punk. Oh, they have punk influences probably, and they even have punk bass lines, but their whole outcome is punk. You want punk, you go to Black Flag. That's punk.
Yeah.
And the Sex Pistols and all those guys, and then the hardcore punk, and that, like I told you one time, the
Bad
1980s
Brains.
emo punk, of the Washington D.C. punk,
Right.
And even Dave Grohl came from that area.
Well, Bad Brains were in the area too.
Yeah, and I've just started getting into this music I never got to hear when I was a teen back in the 90s because of YouTube. So I finally got to listen to Fugazi, and I finally got to listen to a bunch of other people and Bad Brains, and it's just, I love punk. I really do. I've always loved it. You wouldn't think it because the music I create, but I'm actually an eclectic musician, or an eclectic music lover. I like classical. I like jazz. I like lounge jazz. I like smooth jazz.
Smooth
I like
jazz.
metal. I like metal. I like Megadeth. I like old Metallica. I mean, the stuff I grew up with. I like Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. I like ambient music, some house, some progressive. I like trance. You know, and the
Right.
list goes on, man. I don't listen to country music, and I don't like modern rap. I like old school rap.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Like, you know, I still have I still have my original copy of Run DMC's Tougher Than Leather. So
Yeah, I mean, that was the stuff I listened to back in 1988. You know, I was 11 years old, and just my neighborhood kids, you know, the friends and stuff, we'd listen to Run DMC and Fat Boys. You know.
yeah.
So that's probably where I got my thing about beatboxing. So that was pretty fun in those days to listen to that music. And the rap thing, I don't even want to touch it today because all it is about money and women. It's about gang relation. It's not good. And it's become very, very fabricated. There's one particular person I got to tell you about. His name's Comfort Within. He is bringing back that sound. He has a band, and I'm sure he'll be glad I told you about this, where he and some friends, it reminds me a lot of the Beastie Boys when
Okay.
they first began. You know, they're doing the bass guitar, and they're doing the drums, and they're doing the rap type thing. So that's cool. You know, that's very alternative. Not alternative like alternative music, but alternative way
Right.
of doing it. You know, and I think some of these guys are white and black. I'm not sure. So, like I said, I'm sure I'll be appreciative of that.
Well, on the Beastie Boys album, Ill Communications, believe the name of the songs is Sabrosa, but they have a musical on there, like instrumental, sorry, and it's really cool because it's kind of got that mellow kind of jazzist feel to it, but you know it just shows, you know, like their instrumental side of the thing, that, you know, that they're not just three rappers that can actually do more than one thing.
Yeah, they did the same thing on Check Your Head. I love that album. It was probably one of the longest albums I've ever heard, because
It's
years
almost
ago I put it in my CD player and I said, whoa, this thing's like 24 tracks.
yeah, I was just about to say.
You know, Check Your Head is a very cool album. I haven't heard Ill Communication, and I know Mike D, you know, he passed away lately, and it's a shame, because he was a part
Man, it was
a great music scene that is no more.
James. Almark, sorry to cut you off there, but it wasn't Mike D. It was MCA.
Oh, it's MCA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
Sorry. Go ahead.
It's MCA. Mike Diamond, that's right. But anyway, we all make mistakes. So it's like, you know, in Devo, they lost a member,
Right.
and all this great music that we've been listening to our whole lives is kind of going under, you know. And I think the only people left is the Who and Rolling Stones, and those guys are still kicking.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're taking, but they're kicking.
Well, no kidding. Well, but now the Who's they've been down for a while. I know before, obviously, Keith Moon's been dead for a number of years, but I think it was about 10 years ago or so. Their bassist Peter Entwistle passed away because he had a heart attack, and that was because his heart gave up because he was sniffing too much coke. So.
Oh yeah, the bassist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So I mean, obviously, you know, Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey are still going strong. I mean, but it's incredible. It's something to see, because I did see them a number of years ago when they were doing their tours, and it was something else. I mean, obviously there's some songs they couldn't do anymore, which is kind of the same thing for a lot of the other bands that we like. One of them being Led Zeppelin. You know, unfortunately Robert Plant. No, there's some notes he can't hit anymore, which kind of sucks. But no, they still got a lot of good tunes where there's those pitches that he can hit that he can still kind of rock out.
Last thing I heard of him was from the movie White Nights, 1980s movie. It's about a Russian ballet dancer I'm not going to say his name because I can't remember it. Anyway, it's a Gregory Hines movie, and Mikhail Baryshnikov, I think. And there's a Robert Plant song in there, and it's like totally different than anything I ever heard of his. So, you know, these guys, they do progressions, and they try different things, and no, I don't think Robert Plant can sing as loud as he used to, or as high-pitched. No, definitely not. I mean, he's, pushing 70?
It gotta be, yeah.
Yeah, he's pushing 70. And so, people just, they just do their own thing like Paul McCartney.
Right.
Paul McCartney, I've listened to his music lately, and it's just music, you know. I was a fan of the stuff from Wings, of the Give My Regards to Broad Street movie. See, I grew up to this stuff.
Yeah.
I grew up to Billy Joel. I grew up to stuff like, gosh, you ever heard Pablo Cruz? You know, you just grow up to this stuff. And Steely Dan.
Oh, Steely Dan. No, I mean, like, things
Yeah.
a lot of these bands, like, I kind of grew up
Yeah.
with, sort of. I mean, it's always only like some people listen to it, so I didn't hear it all the time. But like Billy Joel, you know, out of everything, I think the first tune I heard from him wasn't one of his CD songs. It was in a Disney movie.
Oh yeah, well, the first thing I heard from him was 52nd Street, and my mother, she went to the concert. I think it was like 1977 in Tulsa, and she said it was a fantastic concert, best concert she's ever been to. She also went to an Elvis concert, which I think is pretty cool. Anybody that's gone to an Elvis concert, I mean, that's cool. I wasn't really into his music, but I mean, we're talking, you know, the king.
Well, that's right. Just one of those people
Yeah.
that you want to see. I mean, it's almost like Kiss. You know, like, I'm not a huge fan of Kiss, but, you know, like, I got the opportunity to see them. I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Well, it's that music idol worship thing. Yeah, not everybody I really care to listen to. There's some people I wouldn't mind seeing, but I haven't been to a concert in years.
Right.
So, and I know you're going to go to Rush. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's they're planning the tour for next year, so I'll be waiting for that. So they're gonna do a 40th anniversary this year since it's the 40th anniversary for them, but they're just like, the last tour just really kind of wiped them out. And no, fair enough. I mean, they're getting older, so even though they've never been partiers by any form, it still wipes you out. So they're planning a tour for 2015. It'll be the 41st anniversary, but that'll still be a cool show to see again because I haven't seen them in a little bit. So, and I always enjoy seeing them just because they do put on a really good show. I mean, it's one of those things, and I think I talked about this in another interview. There's like a documentary on Rush, and they're talking to Geddy Lee, and they said, well, now when you have to go over and, you know, use the synth or the keyboard, it goes like, how do you manage to get the mic out of the way, or that sort of thing, so you can get in closer to the keyboard? And he said, oh, it's the big Jewish nose. He uses it to push the mic out of the way. You know what? And it's true. I remember seeing it. Like, it was pretty funny.
He actually uses his nose to push the mic out of the
Yeah,
way?
because he's got such a big honk, he just right out of the way and right into the keyboard.
I'm surprised he didn't use a natty or something.
No, he's done that quite a few times, man. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I think that's cool that people still use the old ways, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, and they're, like I said, they're one of those bands that they never were partiers at all, and which is not a bad thing. I mean, they'll keep them focused the entire time. And there was actually a kind of a quick, fun little story. There was a tour, I think it was Kiss and Rush together, and they're in this like same town, so they're staying in the same hotel. And Gene Simmons went down to ask him, says, "Oh, well, do you guys want to come up to the wire floor because we're having a party up here?" And he said he went to each of their rooms. He says Geddy Lee was reading a book, Alex Lifeson was watching a movie, and Neil Peart was just jamming on, like I said, a bongos in his room.
Yeah, I mean, people seem to think the whole thing about musicians they're different than you, but they're not. And musicians just perform. They perform, make music. That's what they do. And I've seen a lot of behind the scenes with Metallica,
Yeah.
you know, videos. And these guys are just normal dudes. I do think, though, that you take a break. I think Metallica has played long enough, and they seem very. They don't seem as tight as they once were, say, 17 years ago.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, I'm not the first one to be the last to say that I think that And Justice was the last good album. After that, they kind of slowly
I thought Black was a fantastic album.
See that I'm gonna have to disagree with you on. I think that was just a little too kind of.
Well, it was my first introduction to metal.
Oh.
You know.
Well, I
I
think
was I was a kid, 1991, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there. 91, and that was my first metal album. So that's probably the reason why I liked it so much. But then I did hear Injustice for All later. Bought the CDs, and it's a great album. You know, it's a very thrash album. I went to a skate emporium years ago, and they were playing stuff from Harvester of Sorrow,
right,
and Shortest Straw, and it's just great music to skate to. I remember that.
Well, it's because it's got that kind of perfect kind of timing, you know, like especially Shortest Straw. It's almost like your perfect 3/4 time, you know. Shortest Straw, talents, liberty, dabala, you know. And it just, except for the exception of the solos, it's got that
yeah, it's a very precise album, and I think Metallica, they're still precise, but I just don't know. I'd say I'm more of a Megadeth fan now.
See, I haven't for Megadeth. Like, I've actually. That was probably one of the first metal albums I heard. I had the first album I heard by them was Rust in Peace.
Oh man!
So like
Rust in Peace is precision personified. There's just something about that album.
And that was like, yeah, that was the first one that I had, and I loved it. I that tape got so warped so quickly.
That is probably one of the most accurate metal albums you'll ever hear. And I'm not going to say other people aren't good.
Yeah.
But that's classic metal you're talking about there, and that's probably one of the best classic metal songs you'll ever hear, or albums.
You know what? I actually bought that when I was on vacation in Florida.
And Symphony of Destruction is another great album.
See, I'll agree with you with that, and that's what really pissed me off, and kind of actually... he talked about this later, but Dave Mustaine kind of just like really got depressed after that because like Countdown to Extinction, then they worked so hard and you know for sure they're hoping to finally have a #1 album, and then the Black album comes out and fucking blows them out of the water.
Yeah. See, it's just, you know, it's the nature of the beast. You know.
Yeah.
I do independent promotion for myself. You know, it's all me, man. And that I have people helping me. You know, I started doing this last year, I think. May of last year. I started promoting on Twitter, and people give you a helping hand. You know, they retweet for you and stuff. And it's hard. It's hard work. So I understand what happens when somebody makes an album and it doesn't do very good. You put your heart and soul into it. You push it, you know, on people for months at a time. I basically call it campaigning.
Yeah.
It may as well be. And like my album ATD, it's doing good for my situation, definitely. So.
Well, there's actually just two more quick things with Megadeth. When I first started learning how to play guitar, you know, a lot of times people they learn how to play a bunch of people learn how to play the same songs. Like it's just one of those things because they're easier, or they're just like it helps you kind of learn to pick or strum a chord sort of thing, you know. And I learned how to play. One of the first ones I learned how to play was House of the Rising Sun. But not too long after that, one of my other first songs learning how to play guitar was actually Foreclosure of a Dream.
Oh yeah.
So there's just that picking part. Like that was the first part I learned. Yeah.
Yeah. Foreclosure of a Dream.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that was just the other thing was is the Countdown to Extinction did well, just not as well as they hoped, obviously. And but the one thing that helped them a lot wasn't just the music, but was the video for Symphony of Destruction. Like with the whole kind of somewhat like a revolution.
That's a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get chills every time I see that video. Because that's happening now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
it's funny. You're getting into my territory.
Yeah.
But ranting and about different things, and I do rant a lot, but I also instruct. Like the other day, I wrote something about marketing, the mystery of marketing.
Right.
I've been doing a lot of that stuff lately.
Marketing yourself, and I read a bit of that actually.
Yeah, and I don't know what questions you have regarding my blog. And this is Blogger's Corner, and here I am.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to get to with your blogs is there was one. I think it was a few days ago, where you were talking about samples.
Oh, which one was that?
Was,
is that one about copyright?
That's right.
Oh man, that's like two weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. I just.
Let me just a second. I know which one you're talking about. I'm gonna push this mouse wheel. Let's see. How long ago was it exactly?
I thought it was like maybe it was about a week ago. I don't know because I scrolled through these things so fast that.
Yeah, do not sample.
Yeah, do not sample.
Yeah. What do you want to know about that?
Well, you're saying that. Well, you said that Moby got hit with trouble because of that. Like, when did this happen? Because I just don't remember hearing about it.
Well, I found it lately through probably Facebook and some music page I was following, and it just showed up one day on my feed, and I read it, and it said that he was slapped $150,000 per instance of using this sample that goes, oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, if you've heard the song, I don't want to dog the man, but it's not grade A material, in my opinion. All it is just a couple of beats and oh yeah, over and over again. I mean, it was the beginning. He probably put it on an independent label or something at one time, and I just don't think these people really had the right to sue him for something so petty. Well, but because he's a mega millionaire, or makes probably $100,000 per year, I don't know how much he makes. He probably makes less. But the point is that this company is suing bands and people like Madonna for things, and she won, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go really in deep. I don't know what I just write on my posts.
No, I'm just curious about them, just because I mean they're all tied into music somehow. I just a lot of times can you just start kind of writing when the moment strikes you, or you have this thought in mind? It's like, I know I got to do it now, or I'm going to forget.
Say it again.
I say, when you're doing your blogs, like. No, do you is it one of those things where something just kind of pops in your head and you think like, no, I got to do that, put it down now, or I'm going to forget?
It's like an impulse. I've got to do it. It's my brain dump. So I just dump it into my blog. I guess it's kind of like a journal, music journal or Almark journal. I mean, Syntho Electro and Electronic Bio by Almark, and it's progressed into all types of things. Poetry. Most of the time, I don't write poetry on here, but most of the time it's different things like supporting the musician. I was ranting one day, and this is actually something to go over. And I'm not talking about people who buy albums. I'm talking about people who have a cab fare and don't pay it. They have the money for the cab fare. Do you think the cabbie would want you to pay the cab fare, or would you would you say, well, I don't have any money, and I'm just going to sit here and let you ride me around? And the cabbie's like, well, yeah, I'll go ahead and let you have a tab for the next 6 months. But don't you think that cabbie eventually is going to want some money?
Well, yeah, exactly. Of course.
Well, that's the same thing with musicians. We put music on the internet so people can listen to it out of the goodness of our heart. Maybe because we want to share our music with people. But at the same time, if we do that enough, then we would hope that somebody else would want to at least buy the albums we promote, because that is hard work. And I'm talking about every single musician out there. And it was a pretty harsh rant. You know, I didn't curse. I simply just said to the point that, how would you feel if you made a song and you're a non-musician and you picked up the guitar, you put that song on iTunes, and nobody bought your song? How would that make you feel? You know, it's one of those things. So at that given moment, I was trying to make a point.
Oh, fair
because
enough.
$1 isn't a lot. But then somebody told me there's millions of songs out there that you can listen to for free. Why do you need to pay? Well, that person had a point, but at the same time, that's not a very good point.
Oh, fair enough.
Not a very fair point, because people still buy music. I know this. I've seen it.
Well, I do. I much rather have the actual physical copy than the digital copy of it. To be honest with you, like, I mean, I like the artwork. I like seeing the covers and stuff like that. I like what they put on the CD. So
You don't like to buy the digital copy. You just don't want to download for free, or
I'll buy it, but if I can get a physical copy, then I much prefer the.
Yeah.
So.
But see, that's the thing. That's overhead. You got to pay for that, and these days you can do that. You know, through TuneCore and stuff like that. I'm reading. Someday I'd love to be able to send out some of my CDs to the fans that I'm collecting. You know, that's something like me giving something back to them.
Right.
But it's a lot of trouble.
No, I can see that.
It really is, yeah. But it's something I hope to do.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, yeah, I will buy or download the digital copy. But if I get my hands on a physical copy, then that's really good. So.
Well, it's becoming rare that anybody wants a physical anything. Everything's virtual.
I know, it's kind of sad, but what are you gonna do? The other blog I wanted to ask you about was this is a recent one, and it says how musically popular are you?
Oh yeah.
Now, what kind of popped in your head when you thought about writing this down? Because it was kind of interesting. I mean, I know I talked about when you started promoting and on SoundCloud and stuff like that, and it was like, so it was interesting. I just when did these ideas kind of pop in your head? So, you know what, this is I'm really going to talk about this because it's a really good idea.
Well, it just goes to about my daily struggle, you know, with promotion. I'm writing in a third person, but at the same time, this relates to other people, you see. So I write how I'm feeling at the time in a way so that other people can say, hey, that's how I feel, you know. And this isn't about one person. This is about many people. This is about how the independent musician struggles day by day, and he may get fans, he might not get fans, but he doesn't know, or she doesn't know where the fans are coming from, because people don't tell you. They don't say, well, I saw you on Facebook, or I saw you on YouTube, I heard you on Spotify. You don't hear that.
Right.
So you have to rely on these analytical programs, these analyst type programs, and I have yet to get one because you know it's not happening yet. So I guess that's a part of marketing. You know, the fact that we build our fan base on Twitter by retweeting other people. They say, hey, check out my music, and someone likes it, and they're kind enough, they retweet. That is a huge help. Without that, we don't grow.
Right, absolutely.
We're just stale. Yeah. But what particular thing did you want to know about that post?
Well, it was just interesting, and just in general, I just kind of wanted your kind of more, I guess, more summarization of it, just because like it was a really decent Let me get a quick look here. I think there's one part I was looking at. Just give me 2 seconds here. Where is it? Sorry, 2 seconds. Where is it? Here, because you were mentioning it, this is why I thought of it. When you said that it's like a domino effect, and it works sometimes. I get to be in what I call a Twitter train, where someone puts you in a row of other artists and people retweet. I can gain 70 people a day when this happens, but when it stops, so does my new followers. And he said out of 70 people, I only gained 3 fans, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Just because I don't know how to put this. Like, have you like kind of done the numbers to figure this out, or just it just kind of seems that's kind of the ratio of it?
It just seems the ratio of it. I mean, let's be honest. I don't get somebody telling me every day, they like the music. It's kind of one of those things where it surprises you.
Right.
And I've got 50 people that I've put in a list who I think are potential fans, and then I know some who are literal fans because they support and some buy, and people who retweet, such as yourself, such as another guy from Scotland. He does it too. He's an extreme supporter. Then you got people, well, I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but she knows who she is. And so these sometimes people put you in this list of other artists, and it could be like 10 people, and it says retweet, and they keep doing that all the time. And that's tremendous help, because you push retweet, somebody else reads it, and they get interested, they add some people, and they retweet, and that can go on for like 4 or 5 posts every morning.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
It's a major help. And I haven't been seeing that as much. But I've also given my hand at some of these VIP promotional groups.
Right.
Through Sabrina Signs. I know her. She makes EDM music. And she's more traditional, techno, housey type stuff.
Right.
And she's also one of the youngest EDM producers, I think. So I looked down her list one day, and I was just saying, well, what's going on here? Why does she have 35,000 people? So I do a lot of that research, and so I looked down there, and I was like, VIP promotion, and VIP this, and so I added VIP promotion, and I just simply said, hey, could you check out my music? And they said, sure. They retweeted it to their 100 and something thousand people.
Oh, wow.
And, once in a while you see someone pour in. And it's nice because this was musicians. This wasn't just rappers. It wasn't just, books. It wasn't just, whatever, modeling, marketing. And it really helped. So if you investigate other people whom you're following and you see what's causing their success, then you can possibly apply it to yourself. I mean, don't follow their business model, because I can tell you, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just, this is a venture, not a game. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying sharing the music with people. It was sharing the music, and now I'm profiting from that a little bit. So I hope that answered your question on that.
Absolutely. That's pretty much all the time we have for today, but we'll continue this in about 2 weeks, because I'll be out of town for a week next week. But we'll definitely be back in a few weeks on Wednesday at 8 p.m. as long as that's all right with you.
I think that's okay, and I wanted to let you know that my album is going to be out April 15th.
Right on.
The pre-order is out right now on Bandcamp.
Right on. I will be
Syntho Electro.
I will be back before that is officially released, so perfect.
Yeah, so hoping to get another interview with that.
Oh, absolutely, of course.
That's great.
All right, so until 2 weeks from now on Wednesday, we'll be doing another music blog with myself and Almark. Until then, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Bones out.